everyone, I'm Christine, and today I'm gonna read a book, Hermes Tricks the Cats and Other Great Myths. With my dad. I said before, Dragon Theater 1, I said there the last time I will continue the channel with my father. So I will continue the channel with my father today, and we're gonna survivor reading. Hermes Tricks the Gods and Other Greek Myths. Geraldine McCarran, Tony Ross. Hermes tricks the gods and two loved of Apollo and Hercules. Hermes tricks the gods. The gods never grow old.
Take Hermes. He is 17 for all eternity, and the other gods never let him forget
and
it.
the other gods never let him forget it. Fetch this, Hermes. Do that, Hermes. Carry this message. Do as your half-brother tells you. He even cooks for them. But Hermes doesn't mind. He's an easygoing boy. People down on earth ask his protection when they go on journeys. Some of those wild country roads swarm with thieves and ruffians. Mind you, the thieves and ruffians ask the help of Hermes too. They probably heard the stories of Hermes' childhood and how light-fingered he was even as a baby. The day Hermes was born in a cave in Arcadia, his mother, Maya,
Laid him in his cradle and kissed his tufty hair. Don't cry now, you are a son of Zeus and a secret from his wife. If she hears you are here, Hera will hate you with a deadly hearted and kill you if she...
What is this? Hatred?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hatred and kill you if she can. So hush, my little Hermes, don't cry. In rocking the cradle, Maya herself went to sleep. Hermes was a big baby, big in the morning and much bigger by noon. When he clambered out of his cradle, toddled out of the cave, and met a tortoise. Banging on the tortoise's shell, he heard a dropping hollow noise he liked. So, emptying out the tortoise, he tied strands of his mother's hair round the shell. When Maya stared at the pulling of her hair, Hermes plucked a tune which suited her back slip. Then, slinging his newly invented lyre across his back, Hermes toddled away down the road, making up songs as he went. He was hungry. He wanted a drink of milk. Watch me go along to see what I can find. Hear me sing my song with my lyre tied behind. I'm going to find the moo cow, maybe one or two cows. I may just follow my brother Apollo and round up quite a few cows. All the way to Pieria he walked, growing all the while, and in the middle of the afternoon found the grazing place of Apollo's shining brown cows. They were all bursting
with milk, and Hermes drank all he could drink. Then, hazel switch in hand, he began to drive the cows back the way he had come. He didn't drive them.
Oh, did not drive them headfirst, but blistered
their noses and made them walk backwards so that the tracks they left would look as if they had been coming. When rightly they had been going, he tied twigs to his little feet as well to scoop out his own footprint. Back along the road he toddled, singing as he went, and picking grapes off the vines at the roadside. An old woman tending the vines straightened her aching
back to watch him go by. It was a remarkable sight. After all, a baby toddling along in wicker shoes, driving a herd of back-to-front cows, Hermes put a chubby finger to his lips as if to say, "Don't press a word." By the time he had hidden the cows up trees, down holes, under bushes, Maya, his mother, was awake and standing at the door of the cave. "And where do you think you've been till this time of night?" she demanded, hand on hips. Hermes climbed into his cradle. It was a bit small for him now. He had grown so much since morning. "Never you mind, Mommy," he said. Then, sucking his thumb, he quickly fell asleep. When he woke, Apollo was standing over him, shouting till the cave echoed. "Where are my cows?" "Ago," said Hermes. "You don't fool me. Where are my cows, you thieving infant?" "A moo," said Hermes and chortled. Apollo's golden hair curled a little tighter. "An old woman saw a baby driving my cows this way. Now get out of bed. I'm taking you before the court of the gods. You can answer to Almighty Zeus for your
Cattle rustling. "Silence in court!" bellowed Zeus, as Hermes plucked his tortoise wryly. "Answer the charge. Is it true, Hermes, that you stole the cattle of Apollo?" Hermes stood up. "Almighty gods, gentlemen, ladies, I appeal to you. Do I look like a thief? Does it seem to you probable, does it seem to you likely that I, a little child, a mewling infant, a child of rosy innocence, should walk 50 miles on the way of my birth and carry...
Day of my birth and carry off like some vagabond, some deceitful rapscallion, a herd of shining cows?" "Yes," bowed Apollo.
Silence in court! Am mere vegetarian, a lover of animals, the merest silken butterfly fluttering over my cleave is enough to make me laugh loud at wondrous beauty of nature. "Shyster!" shouted Apollo. "Silence in court!" Hermes toddled about the courtroom, declaring his innocence, presenting his defense. He laid his baby curls on the knees of the goddesses and looked
earnestly into the eyes of the gods. He even hugged Apollo's neck, saying, "Would I steal from my own dear brother, child of my own beloved father, the mighty, the ineffable Zeus?" Hera stood up with a scream of rage. "Another son of yours, Zeus!" She pointed a fearsome finger at Hermes. "For that, I'll make you sorry you were ever born, baby." Then she slammed out of the courtroom. "You were saying there are witnesses."
There are witnesses, snarled Apollo.
Snarled Apollo at his little half-brother. Hermes did not even blush. He simply took out his tortoise lyre and began to play. Apollo stared at the
extraordinary instrument, overwhelmed with envy. "I never said I didn't take the cows," said Hermes. "I only said I didn't steal the cows. The truth is I merely borrowed the cows. For a drink, you know, we babies, we need our milk if we are growing into...
We're to grow into big, strong boys. You ladies understand that surely. Naturally, brother, you can have your cows back whenever you like. And as a token of goodwill, I'd like you to accept this lyre. I invented it yesterday." The court cheered and clapped. Apollo snatched the lyre and began to pluck at it suspiciously. Zeus got to his feet. "Hermes, son of Maia, you are plainly a rascal and a rogue. But you have clever fingers and a golden tongue. From this day forward, you shall be messenger of the gods as soon as you have given back Apollo's shining cattle." Thank you, Daddy, exclaimed Hermes. Perhaps he might like this bag too. From behind his back, big baby Hermes produced a bow and arrow he had stolen from Apollo when he hugged him. The jury of gods gasped and stamped her feet, laughing at the outrageous audacity of the child. Even Apollo could not stay angry with a half brother who had given him the first liar in the world. They left court together, discussing philosophy and music, poetry, and politics. You had better watch out for Queen Hera. Apollo warned his little half brother. She hates you with a deadly hatred. She will never let you be messenger of the gods, no matter what Zeus says. Oh no, would you like to bet on that? Replied Hermes. If Hera drives me off Olympus, I shall teach you how to play the lyre of mine. If I make her like me, you can give me what? Your magic wand upgrade? Upgrade, cried Apollo. You haven't a chance. Well, please excuse me now, said baby Hermes politely, but it's time for my morning nap. He trotted away across the marble floors of Olympus towards the hall of Queen of Heaven. He went to the cradle at the foot of her bed and smiled down at her own baby son, Ares. Could I ask you a very great favor? He said. When Hera returned to her room, she lifted her baby, swaddled in lambswool, and cradled him in her arms. She fed him, she sang to him, she rocked him. My, what a fine big boy you are! And plucking back the swaddling from down
Round his head, she kissed his toughy hair. Ugh, said Hermes. Guess who? It was a risk. She has a nasty temper, the queen of heaven. She might have beaten his brain out of then and there.
out then and there, but she didn't. They say a woman can't feed a baby and hates it afterwards. Hera and Hermes got
Get along well now, so long as he makes himself useful, cooking, running errands. So he won his bet with Apollo, won the magic wand too, though she still gave Apollo.
he still gave Apollo music lessons. In exchange, Apollo taught his half brother how to foretell the future. Two loves of Apollo, a god who thinks the word of himself must, of course, live at the center of the world. No matter that the spot is guarded by a dragonish snake, Apollo simply wrestled the snake to a standstill, rattled it till its brain cuddled, coiled it up like a rope, and set it on a tripod. From today, you're my oracle, he said, staring into Snake's bloodshot eyes. Let the magic of this place rise through the legs of this your three-legged drum and speak through you of times to come. The whole world will come here to question you. That means the whole world will come to the temple of Apollo here at the world century. And they did, of course. Because if there is one thing that you humans crave above food and drinking and wealth and love, it is to know what fate holds in store for you. Kings and heroes come from every corner of the Mediterranean to ask the oracle, will I win this war? Who shall I marry? What must I fear? How shall I die? The answer is screamed out by the oracle in her frenzied banshee wail may sound senseless, but somehow the visitors always make sense of them. They make their tributes to Apollo, the god of prophecy, and some whisper that Apollo is as great as Zeus, but not if Zeus is listening. People come to Delphi for another reason too, for the Pythian games which Apollo holds there. So whisper that the games are as splendid as those of his father Zeus. But truly there was never anything to match the Olympian games. They drew the greatest sportsmen
In the world, gods and demigods, heroes and princesses. No
Huh? What?
slaves,
Princesses? No,
princess.
princess. No, what? Princess. Princess. No slaves, no women, no foreigners
No
or
foreigners are allowed within sight of or sound of field.
all four sight or sound of the field. They run and jump and throw the javelin and discuss, wrestle and compete as though to lose was to die. The only prize is fame and a wreath of green bay leaves, which the victor immediately tosses into bonfire as a tribute to Zeus. And by the end of the games, the bonfire is a hill of pale blue age higher than any man could jump. No one has won more laurel wreaths than Apollo. Still, he has been unlucky in other ways. Apollo had a friend, a little boy with
Lilac eyes and fleecy hair called hyacinthus.
hyacinthus. No one in Greece would argue that boy was as beautiful as any god, the most beautiful mortal ever born, and with a nature to match. He only had to enter a room, and it was as if a torch had been lit, a window opened on a warm night. Everyone loved him. Everyone wanted to have him to themselves, like a work of art bid for an auction.
Auction. Everyone wanted to own hyacinthus.
Hyacinthus, but Apollo won him. Hyacinthus thought the word of Apollo, who would take him riding in the sun's chariot and teach him how to play music and draw a discus. So Hyacinthus neglected all his other friends, including Zephyrus, the west wind. Zephyrus could not bear to see Apollo and the boy playing and laughing together. He howled in the hollow trees and sea caves, hissed with envy through the tripses. When he swore that if he could not have Hyacinthus, no one else would. Apollo took Hyacinthus to the Olympic Games to show off to him as usual. His javelin flew as far and fast as a speeding arrow. His discus whirled like a planet across the sky. He was magnificent. Even those who pitted themselves against him had to admit
the muscle flexed around his legs and shoulder like golden ropes binding a lion, and his mane of hair mane
of hair quivered in the sun. Hyacinthus was there in the crowd, standing up on his bench, shouting for his friend, half chanting, half singing. Apollo was the victor of victories, a laurel crown for Apollo. Apollo smiled in his direction and waved. Then he bent his back, spread his arms, and began to whirl about. That discus in his hand might have been the sun itself. He put such power into the throw. But he did not see Zephyrus. No one did. There is no seeing Zephyrus. He's just a tree tossing a breeze in the face, a sudden sharp tug in the back of a clock. As Apollo let fly the discus, Zephyrus blew. The breeze cut the bronze disc and carried it wildly off course. It would have carried much further than any other, but instead it veered into the crowd and struck Hyacinthus just above the ear. He was dead before he fell from the bench. Before he touched the ground, Apollo was there to catch him, but Hyacinthus was mortal. There was nothing Apollo could do about that. Oh, Zeus, don't let his beauty be lost to the world forever, Apollo pleaded, distracted with misery. And Zeus drew down a handful of magic like a farmer sowing seed. Hyacinthus no longer lay in Apollo's arms. He was gone. Instead, a little flower
grew where the boy's blood had touched the grass. It was the color of his eyes, and on a warm night through an open window, it stands still in like an unseen visitor. No living soul can describe the sound of Apollo's sorrow that day, but Hyacinthus can, inscribed in a deeper purple on every petal of the hyacinthus are the very words of his grief. I. Halcyon days. Zephyrus and West.
Zephyrus, the west wind, paid for his unkindness. Though no one guessed his part in the killing, Zephyrus had a daughter called Halcyone. Almost as lovely a girl as Hyacinthus had been a boy. Like Apollo, she too cared more for a mortal than for all the gods put together. She married him to a young sailor called Ceyx. As Apollo wept, Zephyrus danced in a frenzy of triumph and wretchedness. For in his jealousy he had robbed Apollo but destroyed his own dear little friend. As he danced, he inadvertently whipped the sea into a storm and crest of foam sank a dozen ships. Ceyx was on board one of the ships. Zephyrus tried to comfort his daughter, but she would not be comforted. She sailed the sea in any vessel that would carry her fishing boat. Alright. Or merchantman leaning over the rail, sweeping the sea with her fingers, searching on and on for her drowned husband. Angrily, she brushed the blinding heat from her eyes, hoping to catch sight of his purple cloak, its green shirt. She called his name so loudly and unceasingly
that her father could not make her hear any of his comforting words. So the west wind went to and
begged his fellow gods on bended knee. Bring Ceyx back to life, or my daughter will die of grief. You know I cannot do that, said Zeus. Mortal man has only one
short life, and then his soul belongs to Hades. That is the law. I would spare his soul, said Hades, moved by the west wind's tears. See where it flies over the sea towards the entrance to the underworld, but his body is gone, so how shall he live again? It is impossible. Then let me die too. It was Halcyon's.
Halcyon, staying
Standing at the gate of the heaven, across her arms.
Gate of heaven. Across her arms hung a sodden cloak of purple, and in her hand were a scrap of green shirt. Do you wish so much to be with this mortal that you would give up your immortality, child? Said Zeus. What is everlasting life to me but everlasting sadness? Halcyon replied. Let me die. But Zeus did not grant her wish. Instead, he drew magically 2 handfuls of feathers, which settled gently over Halcyon and over the soul of Ceyx. The next moment, 2
kingfishers darted out of the windows of heaven, green and purple, and 1,000 other turquoise colors stolen from the sea. They brushed wingtips. They somersaulted and
soared through the thin air and down toward the river and the sea. Halcyon and Ceyx were together again, and their love made them faster on the wing than any other bird, as though even eternity was too short a time to be together. Once a year, Halcyon builds a nest of fish ponds, a nest which floats on the sea, and there she lays her eggs. For 14 days she sits brooding on her eggs, and while she does, her father tiptoes through the world with his finger to his lips, holding back every breath of wind for fear the floating nest should be disturbed. They are his grandchildren after all, those hatching bundles of beak and claw and feather. Every year he does it. Sailors call that first night of that come the halcyon days. And the result is a world full of kingfishers. There goes one now. The end. Don't forget to subscribe and push a thumb button.